at that, right there. Here we go, guys, number 3. Check out that fatty. Alright guys, so I'm on I-35 rolling north. Been on the road for about 6 hours or so. So I'm up in Kansas, almost to Kansas City. So I just keep trucking along. Getting excited. I can't wait to get some fishing in. It's been lots of rain up north, up in Iowa, so the water is up, which I never mind. So I'm excited. Excited to be able to get some fishing in. Oh yeah, my parents are celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary, so get to have some fun with that. Big party. Alright guys, I'll check in later. Bye-bye. Alright guys, checking back in. It's 1:45. I made it into Iowa. I know this is going to be rattling like crazy on the GoPro, but there's a little town in Lamoni. I always stop in there. They have a little store there that sells Amish goods, and I always get some jam and some treats that they sell in that little shop. They'll have furniture, all kinds of cool stuff. So here it is. The people of Iowa welcome you. Fields of opportunity. Anyway, but I like stopping in Lamoni. You can see the Amish driving around town in their buggies, and sometimes they'll have their little buggies sitting out by the public library selling various items, baskets and things, and so it's pretty cool. We're not going to go into Lamoni today and look around because I'm trying to get up there to our little lake cabin. Our family farm is in that area, and we have a little lake cabin not far from there. So I need to get all this stuff unloaded. I brought a whole bunch of stuff up for my folks. And of course I got my fishing gear. I've got sleeping bag, tent for my bushcraft buddies. So there are, like last year I had to camp out, sleep 9 nights in a tent. So I was kind of roughing it, had a little sleeping pad, all that good stuff. But I got all my bushcraft blades with me. So I'm gonna be doing that, and this down here so I can kind of see what's going on up here. And but I'm excited. I got to get my fishing gear all sorted. I've got that Austrian military pack. It's just packed with all my extra tackle trays. Then I've got a little tote that's got the 2 .30 caliber ammo cans full of more tackle stuff. Then I've got my Cryptek tackle bag, and I've got my 4 poles. That's the rule. I can only have 4. Although technically here we'll have a whole bunch of in our little lake house. We've got like 15 poles in a little shed there. That if I need to dip into one of those, I can. But I try to cap everything at 4 poles. So I have 2 ultralights, and then the 2 bass rigs. All of them are spinning reels. I've never really monkeyed around with a baitcaster that much. I mean, I have a couple times, but it's just not my style. But so that's what's on tap. I'm getting close. I've got about 3 hours to go, so that for me is close. If you live in Texas, 3 hours in Texas is close, because you can go from Amarillo down to the tip of Texas down there to like Houston or Brownsville, and you'll have like an 18 hour drive. So, or from El Paso all the way over to East Texas. So a 3 hour drive is pretty close from where I come from. Excuse me. Alright. Anyway, I had cars passing by, so I didn't want them to think I was crazy holding the GoPro up. But it's beautiful here. There just some places have just barely put corn in. I know at our place, my uncle had put the corn in. I think it was a week and a half ago. They had so much rain they kind of had to let things dry up a little bit before they worked on getting the corn in. So, and that's way up in the northeast corner. Now here in central southern Iowa, I'm sure they got their corn in that. But fields of green, fields of opportunity. That's 100% correct. Okay, so the next time I do an update, I should be at the cabin there, unloading all my gear, getting all my stuff out. Probably at a fishing hole. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye. All right, guys. So I finally made it. 5:30 p.m. Oh, you can kind of see over here where they just put the corn in. It's not growing yet. A lot of these fields here. It's just that really for them, spring just ended first week of May. And so they were still having some frost and all that kind of stuff. So they had still some cold temperatures, so they were trying to get it in. But it's a beautiful part of the country, that's for sure. So we're, man, I made it. I'm gonna pack all my gear, get all my stuff out, get all my fishing stuff ready. Ooh, look at that guy. It looks like he had some oats in there. Some straw, maybe? Looks like oats. I don't know. Very interesting. All right, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down and get in here and get ready to unpack all my stuff. I'll talk to you later. Welcome back, fishing friends, to another adventure. All right, guys, I made it up to Iowa, and I'm fishing at one of my favorite spots, the rapids. So I'm going to be throwing a 4-inch tube from Venom Baits, and we're going to see what we can catch. A lot of smallmouth in here, so let's have some fun. Hey, if you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. I appreciate all the support. You know, I do this for fun, and I love getting out and fishing. I'm up in northeast Iowa today. I made that long drive up. This is where I spend my summers, and I'll be getting lots of fishing in. I'm going to try to hit these rapids, and hopefully we'll have some good luck. Have some fun. So I got my 2 bass rods, 20-inch braid, Lew's speed spin reels, and 20-inch fluorocarbon leaders, and I'm using 6-foot ugly sticks are my preferred rods. But I'm going to hit these spots here. We're going to see what we can come up with. So with the tube, I like to bounce it along. Hopefully I don't get snagged. That's a problem here, is you can get snagged. But we'll see what we get. All right, guys, I switched to a 3.5-inch tube from Get Bit Baits. The other one I lost in the rapids. There's a lot of rocks in there. All right, boys, we're hooked up, fighting in the current, trying to get it. Oh my God, he came off. Damn. Crying out loud. Had a good hook set too. He just right in the current, boy. It's tough to try to pull him in through there. It was a nice fish. Just right in here in the rapids. I switched to one of my old Gander Mountain 3-inchers, because the other ones I've lost in the rocks. But man, that was a fish right there. Just bouncing the tube in there. Dang, that stinks. That was a nice fish. It's just hard to pull it up through those rapids like that. And I lost him trying to come up that little draw right there. Or that little portion right there. All right, boys, we're hooked up again. Let's check it out. Oh, man. It's a nice smallie. Check it out, guys. A little bit of blood, but just right in the rapids right there. It's a nice fish. There he goes. Whew. All right, guys, this is so much fun, but the water compared to last year is just so much more rough. Crazy. So I'm doing my best to keep it in there, and I just keep my rod tip high and I let the fish find it. So what happens sometimes, I tug it just a little too much and it gets wrapped around the tip. Hey, the other thing I did, guys, was I sharpened my hooks, or a hook, after that fish, because it takes quite a beating down in there in the water. There we go. A lot of times they hit it right as it falls. Man, it's perfect temperature. It's like mid-60s. Just a little breeze. All right, guys. I've never used a Mepps Comet Minnow, even though I've fished with them with all kinds of Mepps lures. I've never tried one. So I was way up there in the rapids where I caught that smallie, and I moved down here. There's still some rapids, but it's a little bit calmer water. Had to do yet another line change, tying a new leader. So let's check this thing out, see how it looks in the water. Ooh, man, that looks nice. The other thing I need to do is I need to get the whopper plopper fired up out here, like I've done so many times before along the, right along, let me get over here, along the rocks here. These stinking black flies have shown up. I've had some good luck here with the Mepps before. Oh yeah, that looks good in the water. You know how I rig these up? I'm using braid. I don't ever put a swivel in there to prevent line twists. You know, the braid is really forgiving. So I don't worry about that too much on this with these. Oh yeah, it's spinning great. It's how it should be. All right, so now all we need is a fish. This is the spot where I caught my PB smallmouth on a tube a couple years ago. I got the tube, I'll throw it, but I want to try different stuff for a little bit. All right guys, we're hooked up on the Rebel Craw. I was testing it out, and look at this, we got a nice rock bass. Oh, just right here in front of me. I just hooked it up and cast. Ooh, this one's gonna be tricky. All right guys, let me get back to you on this. All right guys, here we go. Pretty cool little rock bass. Just right down here, I just hooked up the, let's get him back in there. I just hooked up the Rebel Craw, and I threw it in here just to kind of see how it would look. And just right down here out from under this grass, bam, he hit it. And I'd run the tube through there, I run the Comet minnow through there, and nothing. But man, when he saw that Rebel Craw, boom. So I'm gonna keep throwing that a little bit. One of my subscribers recommended I try that, and that's what he uses. So far there's been some good luck with it. All right, I'm gonna keep it going. All right guys, so I'm fishing this with the 6-foot ugly stick, Lose Speed Spin 300, 20-pound braid, and like a 20-pound fluorocarbon leader that Invisalign or whatever it's called from Berkeley. And this thing is moving nice in the water. See, what happens is I want to get out there and see what it looks like, and I cast, and then I get situated before I turn the camera on. And so that's what happened. I didn't expect the fish to hit so soon, but and it's just a perfect day today. So there's some walleye in here, northern pike, largemouth, a lot of smallmouth, rock bass. A couple other lures I want to test out. Some of these new MEPS colors that I got, and then of course a whopper plopper. I'm going to try the whopper plopper 60 first, then hit maybe the 75 like bone color. But I'm going to throw this little Rebel Craw for a bit. All right guys, I switched to the whopper plopper 60 perch color. I'm just going to bring it along the shoreline here. Nice and easy. Sometimes I'll let it pause and I'll get a hit. Ooh, already got some cabbage. I did a review on this a couple years ago, fishing a creek back in Texas. Had a great time with it. Then did a couple other videos about it. It's a great little lure. This water may be a little too rough for it, so I'm gonna have to switch to the 75, I think. It usually works better in calm water, and the rapids are really tearing through here pretty good. All right, guys, I threw all the sizes of the whopper plopper, 60, 75, 90, and nothing. Just the water's a little bit too rough for that. So then I switched to some of my new MEPs that I got, those odd colors. I posted a video about that. And so this one's one of these Tournament Pro ones. It's a 4, and it's got like the heavier beads and like a glossy bead. So I'm throwing this around. I threw a number 2 in like a kind of a green, like a perch color. Nothing was doing. So I'm gonna fish this for a little while, maybe test out a couple other lures, and then I'm gonna go over to that side where I did some micro fishing and try that out. The next thing I'm gonna throw in here is the Kalins. I love throwing that lure. I've had some luck with it here. Maybe the tube a little more, and then I'm gonna go do some micro fishing. All right, boys, we're hooked up on the Kalins. I just cast out there, and I was getting ready to get the camera on, and man, it just hammered it. So, you know, one thing I don't realize is that you gotta fight this current to get these fish in, man. It is tricky. So I've been throwing the MEPs, I've been throwing all kinds of stuff, and just nothing's been hitting. Whopper ploppers. All right, let's get this guy up here. Come on. Whoa. Holy cow, guys, this is a beauty of a fish. Cow. All right. Take a look at this guy. Oh man, what a beautiful fish right there. Check out that guy. Man. All right, we're getting you back in. Oh, let me show you what I was using. Oh. Got all kinds of gear strung out everywhere. Oh guys, I'm telling you, it makes it so worth coming up here to spend the summers up from Texas. Holy cow, he destroyed this. He freaking destroyed, maybe not. All right, so I got a little moon eye jig on here, and it's just that Kalins, and man, it's just absolutely phenomenal. It's that blue pepper flake, I think is what it is. Let me double check that. All right, guys, the color is blue pearl salt and pepper, and I'm just using 1/4 ounce moon eye jig head for this kind of heavy water. So I was just giving it a couple of twitches, reeling it in slow. Well, those fish like hanging along the bank in here. I guess because they know they're either under the rapids waiting for stuff to come through, or they're just hanging down along the rocks foraging. But that looks phenomenal in the water. All right, let's try up along this bank. A little wide. That'll be all right. It's got such just a great color to it. There we go. Bit of a hook arm cast, but ooh, I felt the pop. That might have been a little rock bass coming out to hit it. Felt another one. All right, guys. So now I'm throwing the Mr. Twister. It's a chartreuse black curly tail grub with a moon eye 1/4 ounce jig head, kind of like that Kalen's. I've had a lot of luck with that black and chartreuse. But I've tested quite a few things, so I'm about ready to go see if we can do some micro fishing up above. The water's still going to be turbulent, but it's going to be above the rapids there. See what we can catch. I've always had a blast trying to catch stuff. I've got that Mr. Twister double tail and just a bunch of good stuff to throw. Alright, so that's where we're going to head to next. Hopefully we'll maybe get a rock bass. There's decent sized smallmouth hang around there. They say northern pike hang around there. We'll just have to see. But for micro fishing, I'm going to be looking for the smaller type stuff. Alright guys, doing a little micro fishing here. And I think I caught more than just a little micro fish. I'm using one of those. Ooh, I gotta tire this guy out. There we go. What in the heck? Alright guys, there he is, a white sucker. Check him out. I caught him on one of those little Nico grubs. On a trout magnet, just one of these little Nico grubs. And boy, he hammered the hell out of that thing. There's a bit of a breeze, but I'm up here above the rapids. Over there is where I was fishing before in the rapids. I'm gonna throw this little double twister. Just caught the fish I caught just a minute ago was a sucker, and I can still see him. He's sitting there in the current. There's two of them, and they're just in there inhaling anything that comes by. This is my little 5-foot ugly stick with 6 pound of that Invisalign from Berkeley. It's that new line. And technically it's not ultralight fishing because I should be using 4 pound test, but this is pretty fun. So I've caught some smallmouth in here and a bunch of rock bass in years past, micro fishing through here. So let's see if we can do it. Battling this current. Uh-oh. There we go. Man, that thing looks epic in the water. I might just have to throw a tube in there. Let's jig in here, see what we get. Yeah, white sucker, that's one thing I never would have expected to catch. So it's been a multi-species day, that's for sure. Rock bass, smallmouth, and a white sucker. Pop, guys. Alright, nothing. I'm gonna throw the big tube over there in just a minute. I'm gonna fish this little section right through here. All right, guys, I think I'm hooked up, like right here, right in front of me. Ooh, check it out. Well, this is perfect for northern pike fishing. It's a big shiner. I can see, actually that may have been just a baby carp. I can see a big white suckers right in there as the current's coming through. I may throw a night crawler, lower it down in there. Right now, I switched to the craw, and it's been getting the job done. Well, for that fish anyway. I've had a bunch of little ones chase after it. All right, guys, I got the night crawler hooked up. I can see him right down there. You won't be able to see him on the camera. Big old fatty. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for me for today. Hey, appreciate you hanging out with me on this adventure, man. I hope you guys are having a great set of fishing adventures this summer. Drop some comments below what you've been catching, what you've been using. Right now I'm using a little finesse jig, but got some other places I'm going to test out in the next day or two. But give me a shout out what you're using and how you've been doing. All right, guys, till next time, I'll see you then. Bye bye. All right, guys, still using the Cryptek tackle bag, the Ego tackle bag. This thing is phenomenal. I'm also using the canteens that I got. I think they were like $4 a piece, $4.50, and they're gonna come in handy. So I've got one I fill up about 3/4 of the way and I freeze it, and then this one is I just refill every time I go out. But hey, it was a great day today. Had a lot of fun out there, and can't wait to get back out there and do some more fishing. It is so nice and cool up here. It is unbelievable. I mean, it is such a nice break from that heat back home. All right, guys, talk to you later.